Listen, we have a problem with the Facebook feed, so we'll get that back up here shortly for those that are out there. Yeah, no, he was really good. I was actually when he was listening, I was like, wow, this guy really knows the police department here and understands how this whole thing works. So we got some callers coming. They're older callers, so we just want to get you all to make some quick comments, and then we're going to keep rolling.
Wait,
Okay,
older by age or older by listening?
by listening, they're just
Okay.
callers. So just quick, so we can open up the phone lines and let new people in. Right, we want new people to call in. So, Brother Timothy from South Philly, you're up.
Tim.
Hey, you know what? I miss you guys, man, not having 2 and 3 and 4 hours, man. We got to talk to URD about that. That's one thing. Have so many things to talk about, and I know you have other things to do on your agenda, and I understand that. I want to talk about Trump and Rudy Giuliani and I want to talk about Josh Shapiro. And I'm going to say to you that when it comes to, you may have your position, your opinion, and there's some good and some bad, but at Lincoln University, students are going to look out for Josh Shapiro because Josh Shapiro looked out for us. They tried to railroad Brenda Allen. We're not going to never forget that. He came to the rescue with us. We had undergraduates at Lincoln University protested, 4,000 of them. And what the board did was made a decision on not having her back and not renewing her contract. So we were able to do that. He backed us. We had a state rep from out of Pennsylvania. We protested, and we got her back in. But a phenomenal work that she's done in the past.
Hey, Tim, hold up. All right, so great. So let's stick with this one issue. I know you got a lot you want to cover. So, but you two have been following kind of the mood of the city. And maybe I'm wrong and off base, and I'm fine with that, if you have a different take. But do you think that his relationship and closeness to organizations like the FOP that are, very anti-police reform efforts, will that hurt him in trying to rise to a higher office like governor or U.S. senator?
And it should. Listen to me. With the behavior of the police, okay, and the lack of our participation, we're connected to our community, with us not policing our own community. Yes, he should be accountable for the things that he does wrong. We should look at the things that he's done right. I'm just trying to tell you how Lincoln University's students feel about him in that situation. So you understand, you are an HBCU graduate. That's special. And Rev, we have so much to talk about. We never have enough time. I heard you talk about, was it Chicken Switch, Georgia? We could all talk about those little things that happened during that time period. They're wonderful things. So I understand where you're coming from, and I know how we're going to feel about Josh Shapiro. But he needs to be accountable for that. Anything he runs for, he needs to be corrected on it. And he has to tell, and we have to know what he's going to act like. I'm just going to say one thing. It's like Colin. Colin would probably be a better vice president if she was a DA. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Good point. All right. Thanks, Tim.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
So that's an interesting point. I think right. So Josh has done a lot of good in his role, right? So I hadn't thought about that. The role that he played with helping, Dr. Allen keep her presidency at Lincoln when she got caught up in the politics of them trying to remove her from office. Again, people are going to remember him well for his fighting back against Trump. I mean, he helped himself a lot. Mm-hmm. But I still think that there's going to be that hardcore group that is just where police accountability that's where they live. And there's going to have to be some mending done there. But I appreciate that, Tim. That's some good insight.
Yeah. Appreciate that. All right, let's head on over to Southwest and let's have a conversation with Maurice.
Hello, my brothers. Listen,
Good morning.
The fix is already in because you just said it. If the commission is going to be anything like the school board, which we really don't have an elected school board, we might have picked some of the people, but the mayor put the finalized the picks. Am I right or wrong?
Well, it's not going to be exactly the same, though. The mayor will have nothing to do with this new commission at all.
Okay, but you say the people. Well, who's going to pick the people?
So right now, it has not been determined. It's a blank slate, and city council will have the responsibility for setting this board up. So my guess is...
Are they taking police money?
Well, yes, that's what you asked me.
That's what
so
you
let me
just did, right? So the fix is in already.
Wait a minute. What do you mean they're taking police money? No, the money's going to come out of the city budget.
No, I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about you said that they all be receiving money for their election stuff from the Fraternal Order of Police. So the fix is in already.
Right, and
I mean,
that's
they're
my
not going to
point.
go against their best interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm just talking in general. They're not going to go against their best interest. So we can
right.
have all the boards we want, but the head man that's running the show is the mayor, and then it's city council. Everybody else is just part of the corruption table. I mean, do you really expect for that board to have actually control over Nesby? You know who you should have as a guest? You should have Nesby on. Let's see what the devil's talking about instead of being scared of him. Let's talk to him and find out where his
Yeah,
mind is at.
yeah. He didn't return my phone call. Actually, I have reached out to him.
But maybe I'll call.
Yeah, you set it up. So I mean, listen, but yeah, I agree with you. And if your take is that if it's in city council's hand, then yeah, it's still going to be a lot of the same because of the influence of the FOP. That's the point I was making earlier. So we have to look at police oversight in these reform efforts as a long continuum. That what happened on last Tuesday with the voting to affirm this is only a first step. But it's the first of many to come. And we have watched what other cities are doing. So Chicago, for example, has very tough oversight now. They have actually, their oversight board sees body cam footage in police-involved shootings before the police see it. I mean, as an example. But in Chicago, they're saying it's not strong enough. Now we need to directly elect the board members. And that's what they're moving toward trying to get accomplished. And so I'm saying long-term, that's where we have to go because a lot of these elected officials, I mean, if you have an independent board, one of the things you put in there obviously would be you can't take money from the FOP to get elected.
There you go. There you go.
There's no way, right? You can't, there's no way you can do it because it would be an inherent conflict of interest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's go to George in Center City. George, welcome to the Power Hour. You already got like a minute.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Reverend Tyler, you really slammed me the other day with not letting me finish with that senior thing. You really got a good one on that, but you misinterpret the whole thing I said. I said about those geriatrics on the school board that's got 4 or 5 pensions in their late 80s, right? Never give young people a chance. Those are the ones I was talking about. It wasn't about no seniors. It was about them. They sit there and take up space. They don't know what they're really doing. They only do what they're told to do, vote the way. They're there for voting purposes. That's it. No more, no less. Now, you're talking about this board, which you was just talking about. Don't you know that the mayor and city council work together? They already know who they're going to have on that. That's already done. And they won't have to take any money from the FOP. They got lobbyists that give them money. So, not saying it in a negative way, but look at it the way it's really done. First of all, if the mayor didn't think that they had a chance of, fixing it, they only trying to quiet the public, keep everybody, at like, okay, this is what they want. They give you what you want, but it's never funded. It's never ran with the people that you want on it. They put who they want on it. And if they put your people on it, it's just a matter of time before they can pollute them. Yo, what you say you need? Oh, you need your whole block, the pavements, curbs, and sidewalks? We got that. Oh, Mrs. Jones need a new road? We got that. What else you need? Well, my church, oh, we got that too. It's always we got that. But when they come to you for that vote, then what do? It's called a cash-in. But nobody wants to look at things the real way they are. Everybody live in this imaginary world, what should be, ought to be. No, this is the way it's done, and the only way you get it done is the way you want is that you put people in there that's going to be loyal to what your thoughts and your process is, which if they go to council or if they go to Harrisburg, they fall in line. Look what those minions up there in Harrisburg did. All of them got committees and can't raise a dime. So what does that mean? That means the Northwest up there in Harrisburg, up there in the western part of Harrisburg, they get everything and we get nothing in Philadelphia because we got sorry representation who only wants a title instead of having enough maneuvering power to bring stuff back to Philadelphia. You know that, Reverend Tyler. You go up there enough to see those people in action, and you come back with a whole 5 bottles of Tylenol because you got a headache. That's all they get.
All right.
Hey, George, we got to go to break. So appreciate you calling in, and thank you for sharing your comments on that. So listen, you're listening to the Power Hour with Mark Kelly, Tyler, Dwayne Royster. We'll be right back.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
leadership, purpose,
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Now, a WURD Radio election update. Here's WURD's election coverage reporter in partnership with VoteBeat, Sojourner Ahebe.
I'm Sojourner Ahebe with today's election coverage report. West Philadelphia resident Ilya Knizhnik has volunteered as a poll worker for almost 20 years.
People use the expression, this is the most important election, a little too much, but this really is. Coming from somebody that's volunteered in almost every election, this is kind of the defining election of at least my life.
Knizhnik worked the polls all day Tuesday in West Philadelphia's Belmont neighborhood at Allen Locke Elementary School. He says running an election during a pandemic has had voters confused about how to cast their ballots.
These satellite offices open at 11:30. The voting sites open at 8 a.m. But they told people, it's like, oh, if you requested a mail-in ballot, go to the satellite office, which was closed.
Despite the option to cast a vote via mail-in and avoid the lines and the potential to be exposed to the virus, many black voters expressed a desire to come in person. Thomas Friend of Cobbs Creek is from the same neighborhood Walter Wallace Jr. was fatally shot by Philadelphia police officers on October 26, just days before the presidential election. Friend says Wallace's death struck a chord from within and motivated him to vote in person because he felt it would have more of an immediate impact on Election Day.
It can make a big impact on a lot of things that's taking place within the country and within our neighborhoods.
Poll workers across the city kept lines moving efficiently and quelled confusion and tensions as they arose. Chris has lived in Overbrook for 17 years. When a machine went down at her polling location early Tuesday, she knew she had to keep calm.
Communicating with them, trying to keep their spirit light, their meditate, so it was easy not to get caught up in the rah-rah, because some people, the tensions were high.
Andre Black has been a resident of West Philadelphia's Black Bottom since the 1960s. He's one of the many African-American seniors who came out on Election Day to work the polls.
I'm 70, so my thing is, I'm going to go about doing the right thing because I believe in these people.
He's referring to a T-shirt he wore on Tuesday that's decorated with African-American abolitionists and civil rights activists like Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass, and Fannie Lou Hamer. He told me there was one machine that wasn't working when polls opened at 7 a.m., and it didn't 2 hours later. Ultimately, poll workers like Black were the backbone of Election Day. For Knizhnik, this election has a lot at stake.
There is no humanity in this White House. There is no art in this White House. There is nothing that in this White House that unites the nation.
But there's also hope.
I think the unprecedented situation that we're in really gets more people out and energized and willing to brave all the difficulties and come out.
In Philadelphia, Sojourner Ahebe, WURD Radio.
This was a WURD Radio election update presented in partnership with VoteBeat. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. So we have had an interesting set of callers today. Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for listening to the show. Where were we at last? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I don't know, man. George took me down the rabbit hole and trying to find my way out. George. There's only one George from Center City. But, yeah, so I don't know where we were, but I know where we need to go before we get out of here since we're in the last segment. So Arizona is finished counting.
Mm-hmm.
They're done. So I think they have like 2% left. So they have called officially Arizona for Biden. And you add that with Nevada, it doesn't even matter what happens anymore. Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, it's irrelevant. It's 270.
There's lawsuits in Arizona now.
Oh, there are lawsuits everywhere. But I mean, look, Republicans are moving now. They're quietly inching over. So now they're saying, oh, Joe Biden should have access to the security briefings, which is important, by the way. If you look at the 2004 report of what happened in 9/11, they do cite, Bill Clinton's own reluctance to let George W. Bush have access to that for some 37 days. Mm-hmm. That 37 days that they missed didn't allow them to set up properly. And that is not the only, but it's one of the failings that they say contributed to 9/11, that security gap. So this is very vital. You may not care about this stuff, but I would imagine if you lost somebody in 9/11 that you love, you might view it in a very different way. And we're a black show, and we're listening to mostly black folk, but when stuff like that jumps off, it don't care if you're black or not. Mm-hmm. Don't care your demographic. There were a lot of people who were just hourly workers who perished in those buildings and folk on those planes. And so this is extremely important. So I think they're kind of trying to usher Trump into some acceptance and publicly, figure a way to kind of save their own face and their own jobs. Mm-hmm. But that being said, Trump is not done. So you remember his wife went out there with a speech.
Be best.
No, not that one.
Oh.
The one that sounded an awful lot like
Michelle
Obama's. This is the least original group of people I've ever seen. And so they don't stop with taking Michelle's speech. They want to borrow from another Chicagoan.
Mm-hmm.
They want to now borrow from Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Oh, boy.
Tomorrow, they are holding the Million MAGA March, or MAGA. I don't know the correct pronunciation.
MAGA.
Yeah. The Million MAGA March, because nobody's ever done anything like that before. So the Proud Boys and all of the Trump supporters are rolling to D.C. tomorrow in an original event. What can we do?
People out there. They got 5 people. I might just go down there just to go see what this looks like.
But I mean, look, how offensive is it? It's like if I were Louis Farrakhan, I would be suing for copyright infringement. like, get your own march. How are you gonna call it the Million MAGA March?
Well, some of them probably do think it's original, and it's a great idea. Nobody's ever done anything like this before. Not to mention the fact that what the Women's March was on the day after the inauguration 4 years ago, not only turned out 600,000 people in D.C., but there were millions marching around the world, basically marching against Donald Trump at that time. But, of course, this is all original idea with them because they think that the rest of us are stupid.
Well, stupid is what stupid does. The Million MAGA March is happening tomorrow. If you have friends and family in D.C., tell them to stay inside because I
think we should all just go take pictures and just post them online. Like this person was at the Million MAGA March, and just like embarrass people. I don't know. That's terrible. That's bad, Dwayne. Bad, Dwayne. I'm
just like, what can we do?
I need to.
How about we call it the Million MAGA Man March. Never been done before.
Now, I want to see them bring the AK-47s and AR-15s in D.C. D.C.'s got the strictest gun laws in the country. Strictest.
Yeah.
And the mayor of Washington, D.C. don't play. She does not play at all.
Yeah, man. I tell you, you know what else don't play?
Muriel Bowser is her name.
You know who else don't play?
Who's that?
COVID-19.
Yes. We got a problem, y'all. Y'all need to put your look. Can I just be real for a minute? Y'all black folk are not wearing in Philly are not wearing your face mask. You need to put your face mask on, and when you go outside, as soon as you hit your door, your mask should be on your face until you get back in again. Please, please, please.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I know several people who tested this week, and for it, and it's kind of just anecdotal evidence that, you know, the numbers that we're seeing, these record numbers of cases being reported, is true. As people are going back inside, it's tough. We've gone through a lot, and we feel like, okay, during the summer we were able to master it because we were outside mostly, but as we're coming back indoors in close contact with one another, there is, how it starts off. You get into a small group, and everybody's got their mask on. Half an hour later, you kind of feel funny about it. It's like, this is crazy. That's just, so-and-so. That's just so-and-so. And then the masks start coming down, and that's when we let our guard down. And so, I mean, really, and I find it interesting that, things like Carnival Cruise tried to roll back out with a cruise already. 5 people on the ship, passengers, who tested negative before they boarded, now have the virus. And so once again, you have these death ships just floating around in the ocean with nowhere to dock. Carnival, Royal, all of you just stop. Mm-hmm. Wait until we get a vaccine under control. You will make your money again one day, but just stop it. It's not worth it, okay? There's a judge in Philly, common police court judge, who refused to wear his mask repeatedly, and he's forcing prosecutors and public defenders and their clients and juries to come into his courtroom. Guess what happened to him?
He got COVID. Wow.
Up there spewing judgments and COVID on people.
Wow. Well, that could potentially be a death sentence if that's malpractice, right? That should be judging malpractice.
It's just look, none of us are immune, and I mean, so we all are doing our best, and so it's just, but let's not just throw science to the wind. If you catch it and you've done everything that you can, there's nothing you could do about that. But to blatantly roll into a courtroom and you're a judge, and it's like, let me be like a preacher. Come on into church, y'all. I ain't wearing no mask. Here, come to the altar. Let me pray over you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pray. I want to pray because praying spreads particles even faster.
Well, I mean, think about what your boy, Kenneth Copeland did with that crazy sermon. He was laughing hysterically, right? His people were not that far from him when he was doing that.
What do you mean?
Absolutely. Oh, we out of time. We just going on. We are out of time. Oh.
Out of time.
Oh, well. Hey, well, listen, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Power Hour of Mark Kelly, Tyler, Dwayne Royster. We'll be back on Monday at 6 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinions. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to Quaitha Masters for holding us down, and welcome back, Quaitha. We're really excited that you're here. Listen, go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
I'll see y'all at the Million MAGA March.
Weight on my shoulder.